when the intention should be formed. And we spoke about that briefly in previous lessons. The Prophet ﷺ stated in a hadith that there is no fasting valid or accepted for those who do not make and conduct the intention at night. So this is one hadith. And then we have another hadith that Mother Aisha says that the Prophet ﷺ used to go for Fajr prayer. And when he comes back after sunrise, he asks, "Do you have any food?" So if we present him with food, we say we don't have any food, he says, "Then today I am fasting." So these two hadith seem to contradict one another. And the reason for such a contradiction, so it seems, that the first hadith indicates that the fasting is not accepted, is not correct, if one does not intend. The Prophet made his intention after sunrise. So the scholars said, in order to combine between the two hadiths, and this is essential for a student of knowledge to understand, that there might come times where two or more evidences from the Quran and from the Sunnah may conflict with one another or contradict. One says right, one says left. So what to do? And there can't be such a contradiction in Allah's law. So the scholars say that we have to follow a sequence, a process of thought whenever such incidents happen. So they say, first of all, we have to try to combine evidences or verses of the Quran, because this is better than canceling one of them. So step one, try to combine, as we have here, two hadiths going in opposite directions. One says your fasting is not correct if you don't intend to fast at night. The other one clearly indicates that the Prophet ﷺ had the intention after knowing that there was no food to eat. Process number one, combine. And that is by saying that mandatory fasts require an intention prior to Adhan al-Fajr. And voluntary fasts do not require such an intention before Adhan al-Fajr. Rather, they require that you do not make any of the prohibited acts of fasting after the Adhan. So no, because we managed to combine two evidences without the need of canceling one on the expense of the other. If it is not possible to combine, in this case, we look at one that abrogates the other. But this requires that we know the dates of the two evidences, or at least we know that one is the latest of both. So for example, we find texts that state that the companions used to eat domestic donkeys. And then we come to a hadith where it says that the Prophet ﷺ prohibited mut'ah and domestic donkeys on the 7th year of Hijrah, on the year of Khaybar. So we conclude that this was something permissible, but then it was prohibited and abrogated, that or evidences that fall under this category. So if I cannot combine and I cannot figure out which one came first, so that I would call for abrogation. The third way, when we have two conflicting or contradicting texts, is that we look at which one is less in authenticity. So if we have a problem between a clear verse of the Quran and a hadith, we give priority and precedence to the ayah of the Quran. If we have two hadiths, but one in Sahih al-Bukhari and the other is in Sunan al-Tirmidhi, we give a priority and the lead to Sahih al-Bukhari, and so on. If we are unable to combine, nor we are able to tell which one abrogated the other, we refer to the fourth and last resort, and that is we abstain, we refrain from making a decision, and we say simply, I don't know, because definitely the answer lies with someone who's more knowledgeable, whom Allah has showed him what is right and what is wrong, which I failed to find out. So this is the best thing to do whenever two texts go against one another. Try to combine by saying one is general and one is specific. If not possible, try to look for abrogation. If not possible, try to look for one which is lesser in authenticity than the other. And if not possible, just simply stop and say, I don't know, and wait until someone else knows to come and clarify it for you. So I hope this sort of answers a question that may cross your mind every now and then. And this gives you the methodology, how scholars, how students of knowledge resolve such conflicts. Now, when we say that the intention has to be formed before the Adhan of Fajr, again, intention is not something that you verbally say or even verbally think of. You don't say, I intend to fast tomorrow, which is Thursday or Tuesday or whatever, with for a voluntary fasting, etc. No, you just simply go ahead and fast because you made the intention in your heart. Not only that, your pre-dawn meal, your sahur, this is an intention by itself. Preparing food and eating it, or waking up before the Adhan of Fajr by half a minute and drinking a glass of water. This is considered to be your niyyah. When I want to go to the toilet, I don't say in my mind, I intend to go to the toilet to answer the call of nature. No, I just go in and do my thing. When there's a plate of food in front of me, I simply reach out and eat. You are in great danger. You see, why are you saying it? It's one of two. Either you are informing Allah of what you are intending to do, and this is blasphemous because Allah already knows what goes in your mind, or you're informing yourself of what you are intending to do, and this is insane because no one speaks to himself by saying that, okay, I have a lesson for usul and I have to do it now. I'll be insane for doing such a thing. So Verbalizing your intention, the vast majority of schools of thought, such as the school of thought of Abu Hanifa, Malik, Ibn Ahmad, they all say that it's an innovation and it's not to be done. And the intention for mandatory fasts is to be made even if few seconds before the adhan of Fajr is called. So even if you're hesitant, and just a second or two before the adhan was called for Fajr, you said to yourself, okay, I'm fasting. Of course, not verbalizing it, but you intended to fast, that's it. It's done. You can fast. The mandatory fasts. And we've mentioned before, the mandatory fasts are fasting of Ramadan days or making them up. This is one. Fasting expiations, because there are prescribed expiations for breaking an oath, for killing someone by mistake, for making dhihar, for having intercourse during the day of Ramadan, for doing an act that is prohibited in ihram, and so on. So this is number two. And number three is vows. I vow to fast a day if Allah Azza wa Jal pays off my debt, or cures my son, or does this or that. This is a vow. So if I vowed to fast, this becomes mandatory. I have to make an intention before the adhan. It's not valid if I go to sleep without intending to fast, or a missed day of Ramadan, or a day of expiation. No, this doesn't work. Now, on voluntary fastings, there are something that is emphatic, such as fasting Mondays, Thursdays, the white 3 days, Arafah, Ashura, etc. These days do not require that you have a niyyah, an intention before the adhan of Fajr, as some scholars say. Other scholars say no, it is. You need that so that you would have the full reward. So the middle way is that if you intended to fast after an hour or two of sunrise, you'll be only rewarded as per the hours you had intended. Because sometimes a person goes to bed before adhan of Fajr or after praying Fajr and goes all the way until 3 o'clock p.m. and he wakes up, prays Dhuhr, then waits for a few minutes and prays Asr, and then prays Maghrib. So it's only like 4 hours or 5 hours for Maghrib, and he says, what the heck, let me fast today. So would he be counted as fasting the whole day? No, he would be counted as if he fasted these 4 or 5 hours that remains of the day, because this is what his intention actually started